a lot different between Dot. Their mother
Mm-hmm.
took care of a lot of everything, you know. So
Yeah.
things were a lot different, and she would have a lot different opinions than I did, and I always did everything I could to help, you know. But that rheumatic fever the second time knocked her for a loop,
Yeah.
you know. So we just had to deal with it,
Mm-hmm.
and the kids went right along with everything. They were good, you know.
All right.
They were above average with everything.
Yeah, I think they're above average too. They're good kids.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only thing that I can remember was problem was the neighbor kids in the neighborhood were, some of them were jackasses, you know, and they were throwing rocks at our kids in the front yard, you know. And Dot went out to stop them and get them out of, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they mouthed off to her, and she was really crying and upset when I got home.
Mm-hmm.
And the next door neighbor was Ed, I think his name was Ed Lacombe,
Mm-hmm.
Mark's father.
Mark's dad.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and Mark was, these kids were acting like jackasses were Mark's friends.
Mm-hmm.
And they were, the reason they were here, they were down there with Mark.
Right.
So I went and went over and told Mr. Lacombe we had to talk. I got him out in the front yard and I told him what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if your son's friends ever come over and pull anything like that again,
Mm-hmm.
upset my wife, throw rocks at my kids, I says, I will come over here and I will knock your goddamn head off. I'll beat your ass up like you never had it beat before.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, wait a minute. Mark was enlisted. He was just ready to join the army.
Right.
You know, so he got Mark out there,
Mm-hmm.
and he told him what I told him. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and he says to me, Mr. McComb says to me, he's all yours.
Mm-hmm.
You can do anything you want with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I'm going to teach you the difference between a man and a boy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll whoop your ass like you've never had it whipped before.
Mm-hmm.
And he's never forgot that. He's lived next door all these years. He's been a really good neighbor,
Yeah.
you know. But I wouldn't take any shit off anybody.
Yeah.
One time, the kids were playing down around the corner, and this lady brought Kelly home, crying.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's some neighbors lived across the street and down towards the park, and I can't remember the names just off, but he was a school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, his son was older than my kids,
Mm-hmm.
and his daughter was about their age. And I went down, this lady had brought Kelly home crying, you know, and I asked her what was the deal, and the kids wouldn't let him come home.
Mm-hmm.
So I went down and rung the doorbell and got the old man out there, and I told him about the problems, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and what had happened. And this lady, I told him the lady brought Kelly home crying and wouldn't let her come home and all this other crap. And his kids were responsible,
Mm-hmm.
his son and daughter. So I told him, I can't lay a hand on your kid,
Mm-hmm.
but I says, next time anything happens like that, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to knock your goddamn head off,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I says, I'll beat your ass like you've never had a beat before. And he turned to his boy
Mm-hmm.
and said to his boy, you know, what went on, and he jumped up and he started to say something smart, and the old man hit him and knocked him down, flat on his back, you know. And he got up and he started to mouth off again, and the old man hit him again and knocked him down
Mm-hmm.
flat. And he turned to me and he says, is that what you expect? I says, well, I'll tell you what, if it ever happens again, you're the one that could be getting hit and knocked down.
Mm-hmm.
And his daughter was crying. She was standing there crying. But they never pulled anything like that again. You
Mm-hmm.
know? But this is just things I remember.
Mm-hmm.
But my kids were good kids,
Yeah.
exceptional.
Wasn't there a time where the kids were wrestling or something, and then they were picking on Chris, they threw him on the ground and kicked him in the side after surgery?
Yeah.
I imagine that ended up about the same way as the other two
Well,
stories.
The girls, they ever tell you about me saving that kid's life?
No.
It was a fire.
Mm.
Two boys that lived down around the corner down there, and I knew their father from work, but I didn't know they were the parents were separated. They were living there with their mother.
Mm-hmm.
I was coming home one afternoon in the Toyota Land Cruiser. Was coming off Valley High Drive. They lived right there on the corner there. And anyways, the boys had somehow locked themselves out of the house, and it was cold.
Mm.
So they had one of those metal cans, like they have at the gas station, where you throw your paper,
Yeah.
stuff in. Anyways, they started a fire in there,
Mm-hmm.
to keep warm. And the oldest kid, he had a coffee can, and it was filled with gasoline.
Oh, God.
And he went to splash it, and the boy he was on one side of the can, the other kid was on the other.
Mm.
And he went to splash it in there, and it flamed up, and he threw it, and the burning gasoline landed all over the small kid. And I was coming around the corner at the time, and I seen what happened, and I kicked the door open and slammed the emergency brake on the Land Cruiser, jumped out, and as I got out, I pulled my coat off,
Mm-hmm.
and a kid was on fire running across the lawn, so I caught him and tackled him, got him down, and got the fire out and everything. And then I picked him up and was carrying him around. I went to third house. I kicked on the door, to get them to come. In the third house, they come, and I laid him down and showed him what had happened, and called the fire department right now, get them here, medics right now. So they did, and it was Friday, had the paycheck. So I told him I got to go home and give the check to Dot so she could go to the bank, and stuff. So they took care of the kid, and I did that, and then after a bit, I went back to see how things were, and the guys told me that the police were there and they were looking for me, but they couldn't find me. You know, so they were all family was all gone to the hospital with the kid. You know, so I kept going back and forth in the night. There was nobody home till 11 o'clock that night. It was a Friday night. And I went up and rung the doorbell, and the guy come to the door. I knew from work he was a tile guy, you know, and we worked on the same jobs. And he looked at me and he says, "What the hell are you doing here?" And then he realized I was the guy that put the fire out, saved his son's life. But anyways, I told him, I says, the people told me the police were looking for me. And I figured that the kid didn't make it, you know. And he said, "No, the kid's in the hospital." But he says what they wanted to know was his eyes burned. And I had to think about it a second, but I said when I was carrying him, well, the kid was looking at me, so his eyes weren't burned. Because luckily his head was, but he says his eyes were all swollen shut, so they couldn't tell. You know. And anyways, I can't remember the kid's name. But when the kids knocked him down on the park down there, Chris, and kicked him in the side, he was there. And he beat the shit out of them kids and told them, "Don't ever lay a hand on him again."
Oh yeah.
You know, so he had protection there. He also shot baskets on the, I put up a basket where they could shoot baskets, like on the garage. And Bill Cartwright, you know, the professional, he was just a kid, and he used to come down and shoot baskets with Rick and with Chris out to the, and then they go down to the park and shoot baskets at the basketball. And Chris couldn't run, you know. Like I said, he wasn't coordinated that way. But any time he got inside half court, he could make that shot, you know. So when he was at St. Charles, why they wanted him to go out for the basketball team. And I knew the basketball coach, so we talked, and he said it was all right for him to go out for the team, you know, and I told him all the problems that he had, you know, and I says, if you'll let him try out for the team, I says, I'll be outside the door all the time while he practices. And if anything happens, just open the door and I'll be there, you know, so. Anyways, he tried out for the team. He didn't make the team. He was the last one that cut from the team. But anyways, when he got over to Christian Brothers, why, two of the kids that played basketball were brothers. And they played football too, and they were big, you know. And somebody started to give Chris a bad time over there. And these two boys went up to him and knocked him down, told him if they ever laid a hand on him, they'd beat the shit out of him. So he had protection all the way through Christian Brothers. No kids giving him a bad time.
That's great.
But he made it through. He was a good kid.
Yeah.